So we'll talk about the top 5 reasons entrepreneurs fail. All right. Number 1, lack of focus or vision. And these are going to be generalized, right? But the things Ron mentioned fall into each one of these categories, right? So lack of focus and vision, ideally, again, growing too fast, not enough, that falls under that one, right? Not acknowledging competition or market forces, not taking those things into account, thinking that just your idea alone is going to be enough, right? That's again, some lack of focus, lack of foresight, but it's a separate one because of the fact that you don't take things as feedback. You look at things as absolute, right? As an entrepreneur, you gotta be like a duck with water on your back. You shake it off and you gotta keep moving. People don't think of it that way. Taking on too much or not delegating. So working too much in your business and not on your business. If you're working too much in your business, you're essentially an employee. You're not an entrepreneur. You're not a business owner. You're an employee. And so you're working on the minutia, the day-to-day stuff that you want to be working on. But if you're only doing that, you're missing half the battle, more than half the battle, because you have to be on every level as an entrepreneur. And you got to find ways to delegate or find other vendors to take on the things that you're not good at. Lack of funds or education about funding. And when I say funding, I don't mean funding in terms of just money, but funding in terms of resources in general, right? Whether it's people, whether it's money, whether it's whatever it is you need. It's not understanding that what resources are available to you and how to go about getting those resources. And lastly, it's going to be poor choice in partners or employees. And this is a big one, right? This one tends to kill a lot of businesses because people tend to feel like, oh, I want to start a business, but I don't want to start by myself. So let me get my friends involved. Friends are not going to be the best people to start a business with. They're not the worst. And again, I'm not saying that all friends are any bad, but oftentimes just because you hang out with someone does not mean that they're a good business partner. And chances are they're not, if that's the reason you want to hang out with them. The ideas are great. The being able to bounce ideas off someone is amazing, but you don't necessarily have to go into business with that person to be able to be that, let them be that sounding board for you. But if you look at all these, what's the one underlying thing? And Ron, you mentioned it, which is mindset, right? Mindset is the underlying thing of each one of these. If you're talking about lack of focus, then either you haven't found your why, which is going to be a future session that's coming up with another coach coming in a couple of weeks. So check that out for sure if you can. Either you haven't found your why or what you're doing doesn't serve your why, right? That's what that lack of focus or vision. If you really care about what you're doing, then you're going to invest that time and energy to focus on that and really figure out, okay, how do we make this work? How do we make sure that this is successful, right? If you look not acknowledging competition or market forces, like I said, you have a big blind spot around competition or around feedback, right? And seeking and understanding feedback, and you start blaming the market, you start blaming everything else, and you don't look inward and say, where can I take this feedback and iterate and build on this thing, right? Not delegating, you have a limiting belief about what it would mean to delegate or ask for help, right? Again, mindset work, right? You're talking about things that are holding you back that you can't necessarily see. Lack of resource education. You haven't taken the time and energy to educate yourself about what resources are available. You haven't sought help from anyone who has already done it before, or talk to different people about it. Resources can be a lot of different things, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's people. And lastly, poor partners, right? You haven't examined why you think you need a partner. Why do you think you need a partner, right? You may be chosen from the wrong criteria. Maybe you don't need a partner at all. I coached someone a few weeks ago and I was talking to her and she was on the board. She's like, oh, I had this great idea, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, but I'm seeking out this partner and they want to do this instead. And I'm like, why are you seeking a partner if you're, what's that going to do for you right now for your business? She didn't really have a good answer. She's like, I don't know. I think I need a partner. For what? Right? It feels like a safety blanket, but really it's not a safety blanket. It's a ball and chain that's holding you back, because that person, unless they have the exact same vision as you, they're going to hold you back from what you want to do. So you want to really carefully examine your partners and look at those kind of things, but also look at your own insecurities and why you think you need someone to be there with you, and then either whether hold your hand through the process or just be there.